names in terms of their list of candidates for Karnataka elections. We haven't quite heard anything, even of the first list when it comes down to the Bharatiya Janata Party. But what we have heard, that huge upsets are up on the anvil where the BJP's first list is concerned. It was to come out yesterday. It hasn't quite come out. It's to come out today. When, we don't quite know. But we do know that Amit Shah is taking a close look at the list. But what has happened in the interim while is that indications of these huge upsets have come from none else but the former Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, where Mr. Jagdish Shettar and Mr. Ishwarappa have practically been told by the High Command to step aside and make way for fresher blood. Similar pattern was took place during the Gujarat elections, where at that point of time, if you remember, top leaders, senior warhorses like former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Rupani, Deputy CM, Mr. Nitin Patel, were asked to step aside. There were a bit of disgruntlement, but they fell in line. But isn't Karnataka a completely different ballgame? Political topography, very, very different than what Gujarat looks like. And that was quite clear because Mr. Shettar has come out and said that he's been asked by the High Command to step aside. But will he step aside is the big question, because every indication seems to suggest Mr. Shettar is going to fight it out politically, maybe as an independent. Less than 30 days before Karnataka elections, BJP's first list of candidates is still not out, but huge upsets predicted. BJP High Command looking at a generational shift in leadership. Gujarat formula to be applied to Karnataka. Old warhorses will be told to step down. Former Karnataka Chief Minister Jagdish Shettar already asked not to contest. Former Karnataka Deputy CM Ishwarappa told to step aside. Six-time MLA Shettar defies the BJP High Command, says will fight elections. Rebellion in the BJP ranks. Can Gujarat model be actually applied to a Karnataka? Can BJP engineer generational shift without a political bloodbath? Will BJP's Karnataka gamble pay off? Drop focus on To The Point this evening.
ಮತ್ತು ನೂರಾರು ಜನರಿಗೆ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಕೊಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 6 ಸಲ ನಾನು ಆರಿಸಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲ 25,000 ಮತಗಳ ಅಂತರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಗೆದ್ದು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ನಿಲ್ಲಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಕಾರಣ ಏನು, ನನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಅಥವಾ ಸರ್ವೇದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸರ್ವೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಕ್ಕೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ಬಂದದ್ದು. ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 70% ಅಷ್ಟು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆದಂಥ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಬಂದದ.
ಆಡಳಿತ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ಅದರ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಬಹುಮತ ನಮಗೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ತನಕ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಪಕ್ಷದ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಒತ್ತನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಇಡೀ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಬಹುಮತದ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ತರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಒಂದೇ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ನಾನು ಚುನಾವಣೆಗೆ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಿಸಬಾರದು ಅಂತ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ಪತ್ರವನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೇನೆ.
So like Gujarat, BJP looking at a generational shift when it comes down to Karnataka. But is Karnataka Gujarat? Will this gamble play off where the BJP is concerned? Let's take it to our panelists. Joining me in the studio, consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai, our ace political editor Polumi Saha joins me in the studio. Everything that is going on behind those closed doors where the BJP is concerned and its first list, she's going to give us the lowdown on that. Sanju Verma, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party, and Sanket Yanagi, spokesperson Congress. All four of them join us this evening, but I want to begin with you, Polumi. The list, or the first list, you're less than 30 days before Karnataka goes to poll, was to come out yesterday. So clearly all's not well in the BJP camp. When can we expect that list? And is the BJP actually confident of applying what was the Gujarat model of a generational shift to Karnataka?
Well, the BJP is definitely trying that because the BJP wants to, there's a lot at play over here in terms of the selection of candidates for these elections because there is obviously, the BJP does realize that there is an anti-incumbency wave on the ground that the Congress is going to try and basically pound it on the subject of corruption. So anybody with any sort of corruption track record, they cannot have those candidates on their list. They cannot have anybody who is not guaranteeing a win. They have to get the caste equation right. And of course, one of the things that we're hearing is it was the Prime Minister who was insisting that there should be candidates who are fresh faces. Give it not to sons of MLAs and MLCs, but give tickets more to party workers, fresh faces. So the BJP wants to, in fact, go to the people with a very clean slate of candidates saying, look, we've taken into account what you've told us from the ground. We've made the changes. And that is, this is the list that we're bringing to you. But of course, there are old warhorses like Yediyurappa. We're not very happy with it. He, in fact, left from the CEC even before it was over. He left for Bengaluru, while, of course, there are leaders over here still deliberating on the issue, awaiting the return of the Home Minister from the Northeast as well, in order to finalize the first list so it can be at least put out at the moment. But, of course, they'll tell us that the last date for nomination is the 20th of April, so you can wait, and nominations only begin on the 13th of April. But clearly, as far as the BJP house is concerned, there's a lot which is happening in terms of deliberations, going back to the drawing board, taking the suggestions that the Prime Minister has made, going back, re-looking at the candidates. All of that is happening as we speak.
Will we see a list by this evening?
I mean, it's been suggested.
Only Mr. Amit Shah and the Prime Minister.
Yeah, it's too difficult to hazard a guess because we had anticipated that the first list would be out on Monday itself after the CEC happened on Sunday. That hasn't happened. Meetings have been happening yesterday. They've been happening today as well. We hope to see the first list, at least more than 150 is what Chief Minister Bomai says. By this evening or latest by tomorrow.
Rajdeep, I'm going to bring you in before we bring in our political guests as well. What's going on? To apply the same formula of a generational shift, which was applied in Gujarat to Karnataka, do you think it really works? Because political topography of Karnataka very different than Gujarat.
I agree with you, Preeti. I think broadly, one can say that Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah have generally followed a policy that in any election, remove about 20 to 25% sitting MLAs. When it was first done, it led to disruption in Gujarat because you were virtually weeding away an entire generation. But over time, it worked very effectively because some of the anti-incumbency at the local level was curtailed. Now you're doing that in Karnataka, which is a tougher state for the BJP because it's more competitive.
Shettar has already said he's going to go it out alone.
Look, Shettar can go on his own, possibly a few others, barring Yediyurappa. I don't think there is any BJP leader who's tall enough to claim that I have a statewide appeal. I think the BJP has gone in for a gamble. They've bitten the bullet in the belief that if we don't effect a generational change now, then when will we do so? Local candidates do matter. Let's give tickets to newer faces, curb some of the local anti-incumbency that takes place. Look, the BJP doesn't do anything without a method. They've obviously got feedback from the ground that there is strong local anti-incumbency, that some of the COVID management by local MLAs was simply not good enough. There are charges of corruption against local MLAs. Remove them, replace them. Now, this will lead to some element of angst, and in Karnataka, those who don't get BJP tickets could go to the Congress or the JDS. It's a state with a large floating MLA population. But I think the BJP has a plan in place, and it gives them perhaps the opportunity to effect this change. Very quickly with Gujarat, the comparison. Remember, Mr. Modi was from the RSS and was loaned to the BJP and virtually took over the party in Gujarat. BL Santosh, the organizing secretary from Karnataka, is virtually playing the same role. He is the one who's micromanaging and driving this Karnataka campaign, perhaps in the hope that he could be the Modi
Rajdeep,
of Karnataka.
before I bring in Sanju, I want to ask you a quick question. Do you think the BJP is at a cusp right now, especially the way things are positioned in Karnataka, that if this gamble doesn't pay off in Karnataka this time, it's okay, we'll see next election?
Absolutely. I think the BJP has decided that if the momentum, as some opinion polls say, is with the Congress, then so be it. But at least that gives us a chance to maybe effect these changes. If we had someone like Yediyurappa in power, it would have been impossible in a way to effect
the changes. But that's a brave move. That's a very brave political move as well.
A weakened Yediyurappa has given the BJP the space to try and impose or bring about, not impose, but bring about a generational change. It may work, it may not work, but I think the BJP is ready to take that gamble this time.
But that gamble, like you said, other than Mr. Yediyurappa, the other leaders don't quite matter. But Mr. Yediyurappa is not very happy, like Polumi just pointed out. We're going to cut across to Polumi there, but I want to bring in Sanju Verma, spokesperson, BJP. Ms. Verma, things went down rather tamely after maybe a day or two of grumbling in Gujarat of a generational shift. It might not go the same way. You have the likes of Mr. Shettar who've openly threatened rebellion. Say, I'm going to contest, whether on a BJP ticket or independent.
Preeti, I remember that when Vijay Rupani was asked to make way for Bhupendra Bhai Patel, who took over as the chief minister and actually, drove the BJP to victory with that sterling number of 156 seats. Many people said that, the Rupani camp is disgruntled, and come elections, the Rupani camp will ensure that the Patel vote, is suitably divided, and Bhupendra Bhai Patel will not be able to do the needful in terms of ensuring a winnable victory for the BJP. And mind you, this was because also we've been in power in Gujarat for the longest time. That was the other argument that was given by naysayers. And if you recall, Preeti, in the first list that was announced during the Gujarat polls, we dropped 48 of our sitting MLAs and almost the entire cabinet, barring a few. The entire cabinet was overhauled with 24 new faces. So the limited point I'm making is that this might sound extremely cliched, but the Labharti model...
Sanju Verma, that's where it differs, because Karnataka is not a Gujarat, where you have an overbearing personality, an all-consuming personality like Narendra Modi telling you that this is what you need to do. Well, you have somebody like a Yediyurappa similarly here who's not happy. So two very different political landscapes.
No, I agree, Preeti, that the political landscapes are very different, and Karnataka and, Gujarat may be a comparison of a bit like comparing apples with oranges. Be that as it may, there is one overriding factor which is common to both these states, and I was just coming to that, I will not be very verbose, is the fact that you forget that when we talk about the double engine Sarkar or the Labharti model, tell me, are you aware that 48 lakh toilets have been built in Karnataka alone? Are you aware that 32 lakh Ayushman cards have been given in rural Karnataka alone? Are you aware that out of the 8 crore people who are availing benefits under Jal Jeevan Mission, 1.2 crore people are availing those benefits in Karnataka alone? Are you aware of the benefits to urban Karnataka?
Sanju Verma, today the people of Karnataka are aware that Jagdish Shettar is willing to go it out as an independent and not step back.
Doesn't matter.
Well, that's the story of the day. But I want to bring in Sanket Yanagi. Sanket Yanagi takes a, you're brave if you're going to make a decision like this, because you're willing to gamble an election away as well at the virtue of these decisions. And it takes gumption, which the Congress has never quite shown.
Well, looking at the scenario where the BJP has been placed now, it is difficult to understand as to how the BJP is even dreaming of coming to power. Forget about coming to power. It will not even reach the second place. In my opinion, it will reach the third place. Let us analyze one by one. So the corruption charges or the communal issues in the state of Karnataka during the regime of Mr. Bommai, the chief minister, and misadministration, and several riots in the state of Karnataka, the Hindu activists being killed and the Muslims are being killed. There is no communal harmony at all in the state of Karnataka. Investors' amount or money is at risk in the state of Karnataka because of the communal clashes. maximum number of communal clashes in the state of Karnataka during the time of Mr. Bommai. And foreign investors are not ready to invest money. Existing investors are suffering because
But
of
Mr.
which
Yanagi, it takes
employment
political
problem-
will to say, okay, you are not happy with this lot, you think this lot was corrupt, was dragging its feet, we've changed all of them. You have a brand new spanking, candidate, vote for him.
No, but the basic issue is with the BJP itself and the BJP's high command, BJP's administration. So even if they say replace them with a new candidate, it will not be like Gujarat, because in Gujarat they have been in power since more than 2 decades, but
Okay.
not in Karnataka. In Karnataka, there is no history of repetition of the same party.
Okay, Paulomi, what do you see it like? Do you, right now, you're saying the list would come out any time around, but what is it, the worst case scenario with the BJP is anticipating by possibly making these generational shift changes, especially where Mr. Yediyurappa comes into concern?
Well, it is a gamble. It is definitely a gamble. But the BJP, of course, realizes, the ground reality at the moment, and hence is making these changes. Of course, there is that balancing act that you need to do. While you cannot accept all the candidates that Mr. Yediyurappa wants to pitch on this electoral battlefield, some say, that he had at least 15 different candidates that he had, in fact, put forth, including, of course, his son, B.Y. Vijendra, as well from
His son is going to get the ticket that he wants and the constituency? Because one party, one family, one ticket.
That is definitely the BJP philosophy. Mr. Yediyurappa is not contesting this election. So, and the gestures that we've seen towards B.Y. Vijendra in the recent past, when Mr. Amit Shah was there at Mr. Yediyurappa's residence over a breakfast meeting, you saw that he took the bouquet from Mr. Yediyurappa, gave it to B.Y. Vijendra and posed with him for the photograph. So it was a clear
yes.
endorsement over there. So I personally do not have any doubts about B.Y. Vijendra getting a ticket, possibly from Shikaripura itself. But the BJP would not like the way Mr. Yediyurappa himself announced that, Vijendra will be contesting from Shikaripura. That is something that the BJP doesn't quite like. You making announcements even before there's a protocol in place within the party. The protocol needs to be followed, and even before that protocol has, in fact, had the opportunity to sit down, you've announced and you're trying a sort of particular pressure tactic.
Rajdeep, the ground situation in Gujarat when these sweeping changes were made were very different. Other than corruption, taint and charges, there was really no high anti-incumbency. Karnataka is very different politically on ground.
Plus, it's the Prime Minister's home state.
Yes.
Look, it was Mr. Modi's engine.
True.
In Karnataka, in Gujarat. He had the ability to have this pan-Gujarat appeal, which really meant that individual candidates didn't matter. Karnataka is very different. District to district, Karnataka's politics changes, constituency to constituency. The caste equations matter. For all the talk of, which candidate to remove, who to give a ticket, the critical factor in Karnataka boils down to caste. It all boils down to who plays the caste arithmetic. Why is this list taking so long? Because both sides are trying to get their caste arithmetic right. There are individual candidates who carry about 10,000 votes each, whichever party they contest from, even as independents. That's why Karnataka is such a uniquely competitive, caste-ridden state that you can't compare it to Gujarat, which is a BJP-dominant state. But if the BJP could do it in Gujarat, I guess they've decided we'll experiment in some way in Karnataka. We've seen it in other states where the BJP has dropped a number of sitting MLAs, like Uttarakhand in the past. The BJP has done very well. So it is possible that the BJP believes that, look, let's drop. This is the opportunity to effect this change in Karnataka. It's now or never. Mr. Yediyurappa is in the autumn of his career. We waited for the last 20 years. Effectively, the state Karnataka unit has revolved around Mr. Yediyurappa's persona. This is the first election where he isn't the central figure in a BJP campaign.
I'm
and I
going to
think
come
that
back.
explains
I'm going to
this.
come back to it. Will Yediyurappa also, because he's miffed, is what we are hearing, will strike back? But final comments, I'll come to you, Mr. Saket, but I want to go back to Sanju Verma first. Sanju Verma, you can change your candidates, but you cannot change what the narrative has been where the BJP is concerned, built on what the Congress alleges: corruption, communal polarization and abject apathy.
Preeti, the Congress can spin a yarn, but like I said, be it the 8-lane Bengaluru-Mysore expressway, be it the expansion of the Bengaluru-Mangaluru highway, be it the Mysore-Kushalnagar highway, be it the Terminal 2 of the Kempengowda International Airport, be it something which is symbolic but still so relevant. For the first time in 41 years, you had a Prime Minister called Narendra Modi who visited Mandya. And we all know that Mandya, the sugar belt, is so important. Purely from a perception point of view, when Karnataka goes to polls. So my simple logic is this: people who have received those 48 lakh toilets in Karnataka, people who have received those 32 lakh Ujjwala connections, people who have received those 33 lakh Ayushman cards, people who have received more than 1.2 crore Jal Jeevan Mission pipe water facilities, these are the beneficiaries who will swing the votes in favor of BJP, because development does count.
Okay. Sanket Yanagi, this will also be looked at, that the BJP is successful in nationalizing the election, which you want to keep regional. Here, it is the High Command which has stepped in, made sweeping changes. You're going to go with the face of Narendra Modi, and you're going to go with all the benefits and the last mile connectivity that Sanju Verma is talking about.
Firstly, in Karnataka, it is not just a BJP, a party with difference it was earlier. It is a party with difference of opinion nowadays. And secondly, the Modi factor, Amit Shah factor, and JP Nadda factor will not work in the Karnataka. And the Karnataka people are very vibrant, educated. They are very decisive in making, while election is concerned. And they have seen the performance of BJP, how many poll promises they have made and how much they have fulfilled. What has been the level of corruption, what has been the tragedy in the state of Karnataka during BJP's rule, that all they have seen. There is no proper face of the leadership face in the state of Karnataka for the BJP.
Okay, like you're saying, maybe those faces don't matter, but it's a, but the jury's still out, especially if the face of Narendra Modi doesn't matter, because you know how Karnataka went in 2019 elections, sir. Out of 28, 26 seats went to the Bharatiya Janata Party. But I want to quickly bring in Poulomi back into this conversation. One face we've all reached a conclusion on, Poulomi, that matters is Mr. Yediyurappa. If his son gets the chosen constituency that he wants and the ticket is given to him, Mr. Yediyurappa back out, or will he then maybe come and stir the pot otherwise?
It remains to be seen. It's a catch-22 situation for the Bharatiya Janata Party. He still is one of the tallest faces of the BJP in the state of Karnataka. Comes from a very, dominating caste constituency. That is very important for the Bharatiya Janata Party. They have, in fact, projected him. The Prime Minister has projected him as one of the topmost as far as the BJP leaders goes in Karnataka. He has been accorded that same amount of respect by the Home Minister, the reference that I made to that breakfast meeting at Mr. Yediyurappa's house as well. But again, him trying to bulldoze through with his list of candidates, walking out of Delhi, leaving for Bengaluru in the middle of all of these meetings as they are happening, clearly the BJP is not going to like that kind of pressure tactic as well. So it's going to be a lot of balancing.
But does the BJP have a choice, Rajdeep?
Yediyurappa is among the few who's been able to break the Margdarshak Mandal rules. He's almost 80. He's still very much there in active politics. He's one of those he's a very atypical BJP politician in the Modi age. You see, in the Modi age, most of the older generation has accepted the dominance of Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Shah. Mr. Yediyurappa will accept Prime Minister Modi's domination when it comes to politics at the center. But in the state, he wants to still see himself as the premier figure. And over the years, all the various networks that he's built, he doesn't want them to disappear overnight. I think he's fighting with his back to the wall. He knows this is his last election. That's why I think the BJP is doing what it is, to try and cut him down to size without sending out that message to the people. Look, the BJP's problem is, if they publicly in any way humiliate Yediyurappa, they are done for in Karnataka. He remains the tallest leader among the Lingayat community. They cannot do without him. And the Congress, interestingly, has given the maximum seats it ever has to Lingayats this time. So they can sense also an opportunity in the diminishing of Yediyurappa, an opportunity to creep into the Lingayat vote. So the BJP has taken, as I said, a huge gamble. They've bitten the bullet in the hope that Mr. Yediyurappa can only go so far and no further.
Well, we'll only know when
Preeti,
that last
can I
vote
quickly
is
come in?
Ma'am, 10 seconds. I don't have the time. 10 seconds, quickly.
Preeti, you can accuse us of being divisive and polarizing the narrative, but I think the decision to, shift the Muslims to the EWS quota and thereby increase the quota for Gokalinggas and for Lingayats, I think that's a master stroke which will hold us in great stead going forward.
All right, we'll only know when that last vote is counted. Thank you all for joining us. Trust us to get you up to speed and get you the front row seats to this political thriller. Like Rajdeep always says, picture abhi baki hai. All right, thank you for joining us.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Armed with facts, she takes the news by its horns.
You think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories. From every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
As State of War Karnataka begins, a reminder why India today is the true number one. The 5 big faces speak to us before all others. From Chief Minister Bommai
our intent is to weed out corruption.
to Chief Challenger Siddaramaiah,
Yes, 100% I'm an aspirant.
from old Warhorse Yediyurappa
And I have got 100% confidence that we are going to come back to power in Karnataka.
to muscle man DK Shivakumar,
My number Karnataka on 13th, 141 will be the number.
and Kingmaker Kumaraswamy.
Offer is there.
Okay.
Everybody offering me.
When it's Karnataka, there's no competition. India's number one election channel.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies. Co-presented by Macho Hind, Bade Aaram Se.
The all-new Hyundai Verna, futuristic, ferocious. XP100, India's first 100-octane premium petrol.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. Economic logic faces off versus political logic in the Nandini versus Amul battle that's become a hot button issue in the Karnataka state of war. We're looking at that and more. Who's right? Who's wrong? Is the timing all off? That and more coming up on the news track.
Amul versus Nandini war simmers. Congress raises Kannada pride. BJP accuses Congress of misinformation. Utterly butterly politics. Who benefits from this churn?
The milk war between Amul and Nandini has exploded in the state of Karnataka. First, you had the Congress hitting out at the BJP, alleging that a Gujarat-run cooperative would run roughshod over the interests of the Karnataka-run Nandini. Now you've got the BJP hitting back, saying it is the Siddaramaiah government that in 2017 brought Amul into Karnataka in the first place. In the build-up to polling on the 10th of May, this milk battle has become one of the central issues in the Karnataka elections.
A ubiquitous brand seasoned by the tongue-in-cheek take of its ads. Another champion in the sector with a loyal consumer recall and base, a market leader in Karnataka.
Nandini, Nan energy drink.
Nandini, power-packed milk.
The Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation's Amul attempted entry into the state to supply milk and curd has left its dairy market and politics on the boil.
This is really the most famous local brand when it comes to milk and milk products in the state of Karnataka, and really something very sensitive also has become now a huge political issue right at a time of elections here in the state.
With elections just a month away, the opposition has invoked Kannadiga pride over the homegrown brand, accusing the ruling BJP of serving the interests of Gujarat-based businesses, with the sole aim to eventually merge Karnataka's Nandini into Amul.
नंदनी जो है उसको जबरन खत्म करके गुजरात की अमूल को भी हम सम्मान करते हैं, पर नंदनी को खत्म करके आप अमूल को ला रहे हैं, ये सरासर गलत है।
The issue seems to have struck chord with the locals, given their sentimental attachment with the half-century-old Nandini. The opposition has accused the state government of using unfair means against the protesters.
ನಾನು ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಹಾಸನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು ಬಹಳ ಸದೃಢವಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯವನ್ನು ಪಡೆದು ಜನಾಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಮಣಿಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಜನತೆಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ತಲೆಬಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಸುಗಮವಾಗಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ನಡೀತದೆ.
The BJP has dismissed opposition accusations as false propaganda. The ruling party insists there are no plans to merge Nandini and Amul, and that it always stood beside farmers and livestock breeders of the state.
ತಾಯಂದಿರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಯಾರು? ನಮ್ಮ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರ ಅಥವಾ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ? ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಗೋಹತ್ಯೆ ನಿಷೇಧ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದಾಕ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಅಂದರೆ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೋ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಲು ಕೊಡೋ ಗೋ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ತಿನ್ನೋರು ಓಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು.
A look at the scale of its operations shows Amul beats Nandini at the national level, but Nandini dominates Karnataka's market completely. Nandini's products are far cheaper than Amul's. If Amul sells 1 litre of toned milk at ₹54 in Delhi, Nandini's price is nearly ₹11 lower in Bengaluru, for instance. Amul MD Jayan Mehta, in an exclusive interview to India Today, claimed the Gujarat brand is not competing with Nandini for market share.
It's been wrongly portrayed as Amul is working against Nandini. It's never been Amul versus Nandini. It's always been Amul and Nandini together. Both as cooperatives, we are owned by the farmers. We work with the same values, mission, and the model. And together, for decades, we've been working together.
BJP has replied saying that even if Amul comes here or if any other tough competitor from any other land comes down to Karnataka, Nandini is strong enough to give a tough competitor and it will always continue to be the #1 brand of Kannadigas, is how the current dispensation has responded.
Business competition aside, politics has gathered steam over the two dairy brands in the run up to the state elections. With Nabila Jamal and Anagha, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now remember, Nandini products are sold in Karnataka at a price point much lower than those of Amul, and you'll see it just in a moment as I bring that data up. And Amul as a cooperative can frankly go anywhere in the country and sell their products. So is this really a political backlash that's being driven by politics? Is this really being turned into a campaign by the Congress party because they want to turn this into a matter of Kannada pride, making it seem as if a Gujarat-based cooperative would eat up a Kannada cooperative, a Karnataka-based cooperative? And is this just politically malicious and factually incorrect? Joining us on this broadcast, we've got K.S. Naveen, MLC of the Bharatiya Janata Party, squaring off against him. Aishwarya Mahadev of the Congress. Harish Bijur is one of the country's leading brand strategy experts. And Sandeep Shastri joins us on this broadcast, leading political scientist. I want to go across to Aishwarya Mahadev first because I have data here which suggests that if you compare product by product, the price points at which Nandini's products sell versus those of Amul, there is a big difference. Just to